When it comes to Harry Potter villains, it's easily understandable that many of them will have their haters. It comes with the territory, and even some of the good guys have split people's decisions. For example, some people love Ron Weasley, and some people found him just plain annoying. It's the same with Hermione, Snape, and even Harry himself. And that's okay, because a well-written character will always draw an emotional response out of the reader or viewer. However, with that being said, there are some Harry Potter characters that are just far too difficult to dislike, and for me, Minerva McGonagall certainly fits that bill. Even though I'm Slytherin, the head of Gryffindor House is my favourite teacher from the series for several reasons. For starters, she's always stuck to her morals, had the ability to separate emotion from rational thinking, and is one of the bravest women in all of literary fiction, not just Harry Potter. I mean, this woman duelled Lord Voldemort to a stalemate. And as a matter of fact, I think Maggie Smith is such an amazing representation of Minerva, as the strength she showed during her own personal real-life struggles definitely reflect the strength in her on-screen character. And trust me, Minerva McGonagall did have her struggles. Quite personal struggles if you ask me, and that's something I want to talk about today. So let's take a look at the other side of the headstrong, no-nonsense Transfiguration teacher. Let's reveal the story of Professor McGonagall's personal life tragedies. Before this video begins, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark. Everyone, Surfshark is an incredibly powerful VPN that gives you everything you need in order to make sure your privacy is protected. Passwords, accounts, and personal data can all be easily hacked by online criminals who want to not only steal your information for their own personal gain, but to sell it on to others also. That can all be prevented with Surfshark, the VPN that allows you to disguise your IP address as if it was located in another country of your choice. It doesn't stop there, however, guys. By choosing another country, you can actually gain access to blocked content that may not be available in your home country. For those of you who aren't based in Australia or New Zealand, you can log into Surfshark, change your location to Australia for example, and enjoy both Fantastic Beasts movies on Netflix with a lot of other content too. So don't delay, sign up now and you'll get 85% off. You'll also get 3 months free. You can use Surfshark on an unlimited amount of devices, and best of all, you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you don't feel satisfied, then the option is there to get your money back. Guys, on another note, the pricing plan for Surfshark is changing very soon. This is your final chance to get Surfshark at this amazing price. Sign up now in the link in the description below so you don't miss out on the best price. It's pretty clear that Minerva McGonagall is one of the most powerful witches of the age. She had a wealth of experience, is extremely driven, and is highly thought of by her peers and students alike at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Now, as I've said in the intro, Minerva has always upheld her morals. She's made tough decisions that she may not have liked, but she knew they were right. And even with that being said, she did have a compassionate side, though she chose to show it very little. However, when she did, it was always heartfelt, like buying Harry Potter his first broom in order to encourage his Quidditch development. Obviously, her prior involvement in Harry's safety played a part in her feeling somewhat responsible, so once again, it highlights how principled she truly is. Now, it's relatively easy to talk about all the positives of her character, but with that being said, I'm not going to be talking about the negatives either. I'm going to be talking about the personal struggles, the tragedies so to speak, that contributed to Minerva becoming the woman she is in the books, which is a woman who struggles to let go of her inner feelings. She does a very good job of hiding them, but she really doesn't let them go. Now, if we take a look at her childhood, she didn't exactly have the best example set for her when it came to becoming a witch and embracing magic, which stems from her mother's own experience. Isabel McGonagall was a once very promising witch with a very promising future. Coming from the small town she lived in, it was truly exciting that when she too, like her parents, discovered she would be attending Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Isabel finished top of her class in several subjects, charms her strongest. She even became captain of the Quidditch team. Minerva's mother had the potential to be a star, but of course it had its challenges as she was very much in love with Robert McGonagall, a local boy from her village. Isabel's parents were so furious that she was choosing to marry a muggle that they disassociated themselves from her completely. Fearing he wouldn't understand, and also the consequences of informing a muggle about the existence of magic, Isabel chose never to reveal to Robert that she was a witch. She hid her wand away and stopped practicing magic altogether. While initially okay with her decision, giving up magic completely took its toll on her as she was suppressing her true nature. She became moody and unreasonable at times. Isabel was so down over the fact that she could no longer practice magic, she even went as far as locking herself away for days, to which Minerva, extremely bright and clever, quickly recognised. She had felt the pain of her mother's huge sacrifice, and she witnessed the overwhelming regret her mother would be living with for years, which played a heavy part in Minerva's own decision making later in life. When Isabel finally told her husband of her magical ability, he eventually understood, but the years of lying on his wife's end meant that the trust between the two was never the same. As I said, this was something that stuck with Minerva as she found herself in a very similar position after she graduated from Hogwarts. Minerva, just as her mother had before her all those years ago, had also met and fallen in love with a local boy, Dougal McGregor, a local farmer's son actually. The couple had become so close that Minerva had even accepted Dougal's marriage proposal and had plans to have a long and happy life together. However, as the summer had come to an end, Minerva became doubtful of having a life that mirrored her mother's. She didn't want to miss out on the wonders of magic and what a life in the wizarding world could offer her. She was torn between her two loves, and in the end, chose the life of a witch. She ended the engagement and left for London the very next day, breaking Dougal's heart and her own in the process. It took Minerva a very long time for her to take her mind off what she had done to Dougal, and she never allowed herself to be open to love for a very long time afterwards. She also held that flame for Dougal for so long, hoping to one day reconcile with him. But while her mother sacrificed magic for love, Minerva did the opposite and chose magic. Although she was a brilliant witch, she did wonder about Dougal and the life she could have had with him. He eventually moved on, married a local woman, and had children. Something which hurt Minerva even further, as her love for him prevented her from truly moving on herself. It was as if she was punishing herself for rejecting love by refusing to allow herself to meet someone new. After all, love itself is the most powerful form of magic. Decades later, Dougal, his wife, and their children were all murdered by Death Eaters who were on a muggle killing spree. When news reached Minerva, it devastated her. The only man she had ever loved was dead, but at the same time, despite her grief, she also felt a relief in terms of being able to finally move on from Dougal and the decision she made all those years ago. Minerva would no longer shut out the possibility of finding love, although she certainly would not go looking for it. She was in her 60s when the next person entered her life romantically. Elphinstone Urquhart, who had been a friend of hers, a long-time friend of hers from her days in the ministry, had also always been very fond of her. However, she had continuously turned him down until after Dougal's death. Even then, she was still weary, but eventually warmed to him and even accepted his marriage proposal. Elphinstone, now retired, purchased a small cottage in Hogsmeade for the pair of them, where Minerva could travel easily to Hogwarts Castle every day. Minerva kept her maiden name as she had always been something of a feminist. The marriage was a very happy one and a period of great fulfillment for her. The couple did not have any children of their own, but they were very close with Minerva's nephews and nieces, children of her brothers, and they were very frequent visitors at their cottage. Minerva was content. She had finally found a period of peace and fulfillment in her life when she was dealt yet another devastating blow with the tragic and sudden death of Elphinstone from a venomous tentacular bite. Elphinstone's death was the second time she'd lost the man she loved. Minerva couldn't bear to be in the cottage they lived without him, and moved back to her quarters in Hogwarts, where she remained ever since. I think it's incredibly sad how a woman who has dedicated so much of her life to magic and the well-being of students and their education had to suffer so greatly herself. It's quite ironic how her mother gave up magic to avoid losing love. Even though she did have some regret, she had her family, whereas Minerva, choosing magic instead, was dealt more than one cruel hand from love's sting, possibly as a consequence of rejecting the most powerful magic of all, which is love itself. Now, I know that is most likely a complete coincidence, but when you put it all together, it seems more fitting, more poetic. Before I knew Minerva McGonagall's backstory, I thought of her as the strongest, toughest witch in the entire series, someone who could deal with anything, and that hasn't changed, but I had no idea of the turmoil she'd been through. It made me respect her story even more, and it just goes to show that we never really know what even the strongest people have been through. Thanks again for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, I truly appreciate your support. Everyone, notifications of uploads are more important than ever, so please, if you haven't already, turn those notifications on to make sure you're notified the moment my video goes live. Making videos is what I love to do, it's my dream and my passion. However, it does cost time and money to produce this content, so if you have $1 to spare to support me on Patreon in exchange for some exclusive unseen content, then you can click the Patreon link below or at the end of this video. Please only support me if you can afford it. And make sure to follow me on Instagram at InstaDeanJ and on Twitter at PotterFolklore. Check out my other videos appearing on screen, and please make sure, most importantly, to hit that subscribe button. Thanks again everyone, and please have a great day.